Hello everyone, and I'm Beastly Eel. And in today's video, we're going to be talking about the 3 episode season 4 premiere of The Boys. So there were 3 episodes that were released all at once, and there's a lot to cover, and I want to go through all of them completely. One of the big things I want to mention is the fact that we definitely have mental health being the main focus of this season so far. We focused on pretty much all of the main characters' mental health, especially at this moment in time, really focusing on where they are mentally and how they're dealing with it. Spoiler alert, nobody's really handling it all that well. Um, we obviously have, so the first episode is Butcher and the boys trying to kill Newman, who's going to be vice president. They try a bunch of different ways to get rid of her. Poison in her eye drops, acid in her face, and a bullet to the head, none of which work. Newman sees all of them there and everything else, and has a little heart to heart with Huey, basically explaining that, he's her only friend, and she really thought that they could be actual friends, and that he actually cared about her. And he thought the same thing. However, once he found out what she was like and everything else, he did not want her around. So he assumed she was going to kill them all, and she was like, "No, you guys will cause more damage if I kill you than if I keep you alive." So she'd rather let them live. So apparently that mission botched completely, due to the fact of all of their attempts to kill her end. And I think that's very interesting because they normally have their stuff together and really try to focus on what they're trying to do. And because of that, it's really not working to that way. And they're really attempting to try to be a team, but failing miserably. So that was the main point of that. And Homelander comes in because he wants her support, because he knows she's a soup, but she doesn't want anything to do with him, mostly due to the fact that he is on trial for murder and he thinks it's BS because, let's be honest, he's Homelander and he could do whatever he wants to do. And with all of that, he basically tries to boost her credibility to get her into the White House and everything else. And she's successful, and they win the presidency and the vice presidency. The difference is they're not being sworn in yet, because due to American politics, they have to wait until January before they get into the House. Um, Big thing there on that piece, and really focusing on that, wanting to really get themselves into the White House, not too quickly. Homelander and Newman definitely want to be in the White House early. However, the president does not, because he doesn't trust her because he's afraid that she's going to kill him. And in actuality, that's kind of her plan. She wants to remove him uh, from existence so she can be president of the United States. And I think that's kind of interesting. I'm trying to get the camera right. I do apologize. Oh, that's why it's crooked. I'm like, what's going on here? So because of that, we have a lot of stuff going on where they're trying to. We find out that the president wants Newman dead because he doesn't want to die, because he's afraid that she's going to be the one to kill him and everything else, and so that's why he's hired, or not really hired, but asked Mallory and her team to remove the threat. However, it fails. So Butcher is a liability on the team, mostly due to the fact that everyone knows he's dying and everyone thinks that he's just a liability, including his own team, except for Huey. Huey is the only one who really truly thinks that Butcher is going to be worth anything in this whole process. And I think that's one of the big things here on that piece, where we really have um, Butcher being, I guess you would say, the weak guy, which is not normally his forte. And it's because of that that he really shows how scared he is. I guess it is of death. Although he does try to pretend like it's not a big deal. However, it does not work that way. So he does all of that, really trying to focusing on being the best team member he could possibly be, but failing miserably. So we have all that going on. Homelander then has the Seven basically eating out the palm of his hands, and he doesn't like that nobody's challenging him. That he needs to know whether his ideas are good or not. And everyone's too afraid to tell him the truth, and because of that, he's not getting the answers he's looking for to make himself better. So he wants to work on trying to get new members in the Seven and thinks of none other than Sister Sage, who he then goes to see incognito. He meets with her, and she's kind of surprised to see him, and her ability is super intelligence. So the two of them talk, and she basically goes on a rant on why he's doing what he's doing. He wants her to stop, but she continues on because she's realizing that obviously, if he was going to kill her, he would have already done so. Mostly due to the fact that she knows how he is and has studied him enough to know exactly how Homelander would react. So she joins the Seven unofficially, and then as punishment, Homelander purposely hires her into the Seven. She also wants Firecracker to be a part of it, who is a right wing conspiracy theorist woman who hates Starlight. And we find out that the reason why she hates Starlight is because Starlight spread a rumor about her while they were in the pageant scene about how she liked having um, anal sex and that she was a whore. And it was because of that she lost all credibility and was no longer a rising star like Starlight. And she vows to ruin Starlight and kill her. And so the reason why Sister Sage wants the two of them together is because Starlight is Homelander's biggest problem. Well, she gets Firecracker to be the figurehead to go after Starlight instead of it being Homelander. Homelander also uses Sister Sage to try to get his son to be a hero, and everyone keeps focusing on this chosen child, how he's the only one who was born with superpowers, and she says that the only way it's going to work is if he's by himself, and that he isn't Homelander, and he has nothing to do with Homelander. Well, Homelander pretends that he's okay with it and decides against it. So when he has his big debut as the new hero, Homelander comes in to basically tell his son to do what he needs to do because he wants to be in the limelight, because Homelander can't be out of the limelight even for a second. That's when Ryan gets really distraught with everything going on, uses his full force to push the stuntman, who goes flying into a building and goes splat. Ryan is hurt by all of this, and Homelander thinks it has to do with the fact that his Homelander took the spotlight away from him, and Homelander's really confused when he finds out that Ryan's hurt because he killed a human. And he's like, they're just people, who cares? They're beneath us anyway. And that drives Ryan to go meet with Butcher. Now, Butcher has been trying to kidnap Ryan to basically well, keep him safe. During all of this, Butcher decides against using the cookies that are laced with um, knockout poison, I guess the best way to phrase it, and allows Ryan to go back home. Homelander is unhappy with the fact that he goes to see Butcher again, really furious, um, scares him enough to go away. And the third episode is really Sister Sage kind of focusing on trying to build this empire. And so they remove Ashley from the Seven. She then really wants to focus on trying to get Newman to become the figurehead of the country, but also announce that she's a soup, and really focusing on that piece. While this is happening, she's realizing that Homelander screws everything up, causes a lot of destruction, and during all of that, at the end of episode 3, hooks up with the Deep after lobotomizing herself. And she lobotomizes herself with a tool where she sticks it in her eye and digs it in. I'm assuming it's not permanent, although I will admit that I thought it was for a second. But it might be just her way of coping with the fact that because she's so intelligent, really wanting to dumb down herself to deal with the situation at hand. And we also have Huey's dad has a stroke, deals with his mom. There's a big confrontation between the two of them in these 3 episodes. And then finally he realizes that his mom was dealing with her mental health and that his dad didn't want the mom to get back into the picture because he was unclear if she was going to be permanently staying there. And he didn't want Huey to deal with the fact of mom coming in and out of the picture and it not working out. And that changes Huey's thought process on his mom. We also have Kimiko dealing with her mental health issues, with dealing with the fact that she was afraid to have love and wants to remove the rising sun that caused her to be who she is. So she then goes Google for Cocoa Puffs and goes on a rampage, finds somebody that she used to work with, or who she probably thought she killed. However, we don't get much more information than that. And her dealing with that piece. We also then have Frenchie trying to deal with the fact that he's in love with a man, but he's in love with a man who he killed his entire family on. And again, one of those things where he tried to remove said person from existence and then wanting to be a part of their life to make it better. Typical Frenchie. Butcher dealing with his mortality and all that stuff. Um, we have the Deep with an octopus girlfriend who then hooks up with Sister Sage. Um, Black Noir is just a villain right now. So it's some guy in Black Noir suit who is doing all this stuff with him. A Train dealing with the fact that he's now realizing that the Seven is bad and is working with the boys, which was a shock to me. I'm trying to think of what else. I think those were the major things on this piece, and really focusing on those things as well. We got a couple of fight scenes, nothing as gory as we've seen in seasons past, mostly due to the fact that we um, definitely had some issues with Butcher and the team and the Butcher dynamic. However, Butcher wanted to being a part of the team, coming back to save them, blah blah blah. In the end, kind of still being part of the team, but it's just an awkward situation in that sense. But overall, very much looking forward to where the season is going. We have it has been announced that there is only going to be 5 seasons, so this is the second to last season of the series. I'm very curious of where it's going to go. Are we going to have a soup in the White House? We're going to have to wait and see. Just very curious of where the boys are going to go to, because Butcher only has so many months left to live. I'm very curious of what's going to happen. Overall, thought these 3 episodes were phenomenal. Very much looking forward to seeing where the rest of this series is going to go. Um, but we'll have to wait and see. Let me know what you guys thought about these 3 episodes down in the comments below. And as always, if you've made it this far, please make sure to like and subscribe down below. Other than that, this is going to be Beastly Eel signing out. Have a great night.